Welcome to Hypnotherapy Education. My name is Corrine. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist. And this is my lovely daughter, Ashley, and she is a certified clinical hypnotherapist. We wanted to come on today and just give you some different thought processes with regards to hypnosis and hypnotherapy, because during the centuries, we've had a lot of different issues with hypnotherapists, a lot of myths about hypnotherapy. And really today, like I use a book called Trance Work by Dr. Michael Yapko. Like there's a lot of great books on hypnotherapy, but that particular one talks about 12,000 peer-reviewed journals and that just means that hypnotherapy is no longer this little, modality that people kind of thought was a good idea, but it actually is a very science-based modality that helps thousands and thousands of people with all kinds of things. So, Ashley, you became a hypnotherapist in
2019.
2019, and you've been doing it full time since then. So, what are some of the things that you've been able to help people with? And what are some of the things that you love to help people with? That's kind of the
Yeah.
cool thing too. As a therapist, we get to choose what kind of modalities we want to practice in.
Well, my favorite thing and my foundation of my whole practice, it actually started from Brene Brown, which was she talks about the power of vulnerability. And
Mm.
so through hypnosis, it gets really into your subconscious. So my favorite thing to do is help people be their best friend. My favorite thing to ask people is, when's the last time you were your best friend? And I'm asking you who's watching, when's the last time you were your best friend? And a lot of people go, it's been a while. Because the truth of it is we were taught to be externally validating, external validation, our job, our home, our car, our bank account, all these things represent us. And so I found that there's a huge disconnect in that. And hypnosis was the fastest way for me to handle my triggers, for me to handle my solutions, for me to go to manifesting instead of lowering my vibration, beating myself up, self-sabotaging. I mean, I still self-sabotage, I still beat myself up, I still do all the things. But I found that when I can self-hypnotize myself in the second I'm in that fight or flight or in that trigger response, and I activate my breathing exercise. I activate my bubble, which I teach people how to do, which is the most powerful superpower in the world, is to have your own space where it's just you and you immediately give the narration of what you need. That's all hypnosis. That
Yeah.
is all hypnosis. That is you giving you what you need because you're feeling a sense of awareness that something's not right.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how do I support myself? And it's about being your best friend and trusting that inner guidance. And so that's my favorite thing to teach people, as well as the universal most known thing for hypnosis, helping people quit smoking.
Yeah.
I am over 10 months. I quit smoking again last year. And I'm going to tell you what, as a hypnotherapist, I know the ins and outs. The truth of it is, when you are your best friend and you give you what you need, you'll never touch that shit again. I'm just calling it out,
It's true.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, it's all about consciousness. So I've learned some tools and tricks that I've added on top of things that I know work because of what I practice and what I love about it is I'll never touch a cigarette again. And I
I'm
never
so
had that.
grateful for that too, just so
Yeah.
you're aware. I'm so proud of you
Yeah.
for doing that because yeah, quit smoking is such a, I mean, I did that for years, so
Yeah. It's one of the
so
hardest
grateful
things.
that I don't do that anymore for sure.
Yes. And that's about consciousness. So that's one thing, as well as manifesting. I truly want to live in a world where everyone helps themselves so that they can help their loved ones more.
Yeah.
The whole in reverse is that I don't know if people pleasing is a beautiful pastime, okay? I think we should just join our own little group and take care of each other because that's the way sometimes it works. But right, because it's the truth. But the point of it is that if you give you what you need, you can give you so much more to others. And that's another thing too, that hypnosis. I want to just share a quick definition on the education piece. So the hypnosis definition committee that I found in Transwork defined hypnosis as a state of consciousness involving focused attention and reduced peripheral awareness, characterized by an enhanced capacity for response to suggestion. That's a very fancy way to say, okay, I want you to imagine a tree. Okay, everyone and anyone, just imagine a tree. Whatever tree you see, make it as vivid as possible. Imagine you can touch it. The more that you make that tree real in your mind and there's not a tree right in front of you, that is your ability to be hypnotized.
Yeah.
Hypnosis is the suggestion to see the tree. Your ability to imagine the tree is individual. And so
Yes.
if I can debunk anything in this world, is that hypnosis is not a drug or a sedative, okay? People do not have control over you. They're talking to you. And if anyone thinks that the second someone's talking to you, they have control over you, you need to learn how to hypnotize yourself the fastest and quickest, because that is a scary life to live. To have someone just control you that way, I would
And
want to
I've
make sure
seen
people
lots of
don't do
evidence
that.
of
Ah,
suggestions that have been given to us over, particularly over the last 4 years. And I'm not going to go into the politics of
yeah,
it, but there's a lot of hypnosis that's being done. And when you work with a good hypnotherapist, they're going to put in, first of all, they're going to ask you permission to go into
yes,
hypnosis. And then at the end, they're going to put in that no one can hypnotize you without your permission, which just means the media, the politics, all of that suggestions that are given to you, that fear that we're kind of led to believe is
yeah,
not going to affect you the way that it would the average person. And I think that alone is worth going to see a hypnotherapist.
yeah,
Stress is where I focus my attention on in my hypnotherapy practice, anything that causes stress. And I deal a lot with cancer patients, people that have different physical ailments, not because I'm a medical doctor, because I am not. But I definitely understand how to get you to relax. And as you relax, you can actually heal your body and allow, and you're the one doing it. I am not the one doing it, but you could do anything better relaxed than you can stressed. So being able to, my clients who know me know what this means, this okay sign. And that just means, and that's an anchor that I might put in that might say, if I do this, I'm in a state of relaxation and in a state of calm. And so anybody who uses hypnotherapy for stress, for quitting smoking, for being their best friend, all of that is such an important thing. And it's so much faster than talking about it. So talk therapy isn't always as effective, in my opinion, as hypnotherapy. I think hypnotherapy is much faster. It's a much faster way to get to the root cause and to deal with it in the most effective way.
yeah. That's actually like one of my most favorite things is when and every session I do with people, I always explain what we're doing from the beginning to the end. One
Yeah.
thing with me is I'm a very permissive hypnotherapist. I am a survivor of many essays, and one thing I love to teach people is that they can have control. They can have power because the
Yeah.
most awful narration in the world is that they feel violated. They feel like they don't have their power, they don't have their strength. And that's the first thing I love to give back to people is that they don't ever have to feel that way again. Because that is, I'm going to be honest, that's a hypnotic suggestion that someone can have power. And the thing that I love to do is the most liberating thing in the world is when the people when we go through the session, is we find the most comfortable part of the body. We expand that into a bubble. And then we imagine that the version of you that needs love the most comes into the bubble. And so the more that you believe putting the person that needs love the most inside a bubble that you're protecting, there is physiological changes in the mind, body, and soul when you do that.
Yeah.
Even just now, like on a conscious level, it hits on one way. But so I explain what we're going to do. And then when we go in the subconscious, when we do the induction, when we do the deepener, which is the techniques we use, which is just talking about going to the beach. It's not talking about we're in the water. Like it's just relaxing. It's just scientific words that signal to the brain to relax.
Yeah.
And so, and it's a journey, and and you're fully aware of everything that's going on. In fact, you're probably more aware of yourself than you were before if we just talked. And then we ask you to ask yourself what you need. And I tell you what, when you do that in a really relaxed state, you see things different. Your brain does things different. To prove that is whenever you're in that state of like hypervigilance, and then when you calm down, all of it like just starts to unfold, right? It's the
Yeah.
same thing with the subconscious. And then our favorite thing to do is to give you what you need. And once you're doing that, you're doing that. We're just asking, what do you need? And whatever you come up with is your own suggestion, and then you're giving it to yourself. And here's the thing with Mom and I, or Karina and I, we give dignity. I want you to keep your dignity. You don't have to tell us everything. Because here's the thing that we know. We've done enough sessions in the world that I don't need every detail. I don't need you to relive your trauma. I want you to relieve the trauma. not relive. Like give yourself relief, release it. And I'll tell you what, that is the best thing in the world that I can ever describe in the session work is when you watch someone take away all that poison, all that toxic, all that negative energy and remove it. And they use that visualization, that cognitive behavior therapy, that metaphor, and they finally release it. And they're like, I can breathe. There is nothing in this world that makes me more alive in that moment when you watch someone do that, because that is the most beautiful gift in the world,
Yeah.
right? Like it gets me emotional thinking about it because the truth of it is I could have been a forensic psychologist. I could have kept going on to my doctorate. I wanted to do that. But I'll tell you what, I worked myself out of a job. I want people to love themselves, give them what they need, and help the next person. And then I would keep going. We keep going until everyone is there in a
Yeah.
way, right? And I'm not here to decide what that is, but I'm here to support you. And that's what Kareen does. That's what I do. And that's we wanted this little video. Thanks for watching as far as you did, because we could honestly go on for hours about this, but I want to just make sure my whole point of it is if I can help people be their best friend and love themselves and have a healthy life, I'm all about being on that journey with people.
Yeah. I just remember when you started your hypnotherapy journey and you moved from a different province back home and where you were back then and how hypnosis literally saved your life. And if you would have stayed where you were, we were having that conversation. Yeah, I don't know where you would be at that
No.
point. Like, it was pretty traumatic living where you were living and being the situation that you were in and how powerless you actually felt
Yeah.
in regards to that situation. So I am so grateful that you embraced hypnotherapy and really started to take your own power back, because I have my daughter back, which is an amazing thing. And I'm grateful for that. So if hypnotherapy is something that you think that you could use, we do have introductory consults where you can, we'll talk to you about whether this is a good modality for you. And then you can just book a session. But just if you want to do that, just put a direct message, either one of us on Facebook, and we can absolutely support you. But thank you so much for listening. Hypnotherapy saved my life back in 1992 when I first started dealing with hypnosis, and then becoming a hypnotherapy instructor, as well as having my own private practice, which I still have. It's a godsend, really. It really is, being able to calm your body at will. It's amazing. Anyway, thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.
I can